there are very few guitarists who can carry solo careers as instrumentalists. Very few. I was wondering if there are any current artists that inspire you musically.
You know, what comes to mind is that there are so many new guitar players out there that we can hear finally. I mean, 10 or 20 years ago, you were waiting for, you know, Mike Varney's Spotlight or something like that, or somebody to mail you a cassette or something. And it seemed like it was forever searching for the next guitar player. But obviously on YouTube, you can go on there, and it seems like we're flooded with just young players that are really amazing because, you know, they started playing with Vi and Petrucci. Those are like their beginner guys, you know? I don't know about you guys, but I've played next to those guys, and those guys are scary, you know? and to think that there are young kids like that now, they're playing like that. So I know all these players. I don't know their names, but I'm amazed, but really, really happy to see players from Brazil, from India, from Canada, from right here in California, and they're just tearing it up. It's really wonderful.
You taught guitar for many years. What are the most important lessons that someone wanting to be a guitar player should know?
Well, I taught a lot of guys who had different dreams and aspirations, and that's an important thing as a teacher, that you want to tap into that right away, you know. And there's an anecdote I can tell you about when I was teaching in Berkeley, California, in the back of a guitar store, a very humble little place to give lessons. But you know, Larry Lalonde and Kirk Hammett and Alex Skolnick and Kevin Cadigan and Charlie Hunter, you know, David Bryson, they all came in around the same couple of years. They were looking for lessons, and every single one of them had a totally different idea about what a cool guitar player should be. You know, David Bryson could care less about soloing. He just wanted to know how to write songs. He wanted to know the mystery behind getting chords to go together, modulations, voicings, and all that. And it's now, of course, we know him in Counting Crows, and it's like, well, it's obvious that's where he's headed, you know. Of course, Kirk was in Exodus at the time, right? So he had a tough job right there as a lead player in a band like that. And then while we're doing the lessons, he gets into Metallica, and the pressure really mounts, you know. And those guys were writing songs with chord progressions that no one had really ever heard before. And then, of course, when it came time for a guitar solo, you couldn't just play anything. And although, you know, Kirk could play, you know, Schenker stuff and Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff and Hendrix stuff, and we went all over that stuff, he realized that he had to do something original about it. So his, you know, what I had to give him was something totally different. I just had to give him choices and then send him away and say, you make up your own mind, you know, which is really what you want to do. You don't want to impose your style on a student. You just got to figure out what is it that's really going to light that fire inside of them and keep it going, and then you tailor that lesson for them.
You've been an Ibanez player for many, many years?
Yes, yeah.
And rumor has it that you have a new guitar coming out?
That's right, yeah. Well, we always have something new coming out because the guys at Ibanez, they're just like tireless. I come up with these weird ideas. And so we've always got prototypes happening all the time. But of course, we had to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Surfing with the Alien last year. Thank you. And thank you. You know, and so, you know, we were thinking, well, you know, we've already done a chrome guitar, and we, you know, and then anyway, somebody came up with the idea of this beautiful guitar, and basically it's a JS1000 guitar that's got the artwork from the album cover on there, but not only that, but a 3D model of the guy himself, the Silver Surfer, popping out of the guitar right here. It's so cool. And I got to play it at the NAMM show when we did our little celebration show down in Long Beach, and I got to say, that little chrome guy there, he does something to you when you're playing in the yeah, I started to feel the weight of the 2 decades of that record and its intensity. But it's a beautiful guitar, and of course it's got all the cool things, the pickups and all the switches and everything like that. You know, it's a very deceptively functional guitar. It doesn't have like 8 switches on it and stuff like that, and it doesn't have any holes in it or lights coming out of it or anything like that. You know, although I reserve the right to add smoke and lights sometime in my career when I need it. Okay, But for now, when I was talking to these guys many years ago after Steve I made the introduction for me, I said, I'm interested in making a guitar that can be a kind of a standard guitar that is not always going to have something outrageous on it. And thankfully, they went with me, and every year we're looking at improving little things that maybe you can't see on the guitar, but actually make the thing function well, sound better, and keep the quality of the instrument always at its highest level, which is important, which is why I still play it today.
What's your favorite key to play in?
Oh, I like them all, really. They really, I swear, every key on the guitar has got something cool about it. even F. I know you're thinking you can't mean F, right? But I mean, just think of the intonation problems that you could sort of use to your advantage, you know. I mean, because the whole thing, the way these strings come off the nut and stuff. But I like them all, you know. I mean, there are times where I've thought, you know, A flat minor is the coolest key because you've got that E Lydian thing to play with, and it just makes the guitar sound huge when you've got a song that rests on that thing. But ultimately, I think it doesn't really matter. Although at other times I've been convinced that you know, tuning guitars down or up adds something to a recording. It adds some other kind of harmonic content that can be good or bad. It's just like when you try to add a 12-string to a song and you go, oh, no, that's not it. Bad idea. You know it right away. And it's not just because it's a 12-string. It's because of all the extra harmonics that it's adding to the song, and they're either going to help the song or they're not. But lastly, I just want to pass on one thing that a luthier up in Petaluma turned me on to. He builds amazing guitars. His name is Bruce Sexauer, and he built a beautiful acoustic guitar for me out of Pernambuco wood, a Brazilian music tree wood. And but he's written this paper about intonation and tempo. And I swear, when I read the title, I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me. I'm not going to read this. You know, this is ridiculous. But then you start reading it, and it starts to make sense. And then we were in the studio recently, and we were struggling with one particular song, and we started reading this guy's paper. And I swear it really got into us that we thought, that's what's wrong with this song. It's because it's in this particular key and that particular tempo, and that's why we're struggling with it. And it's a concept that if I were you, I'd go check it out, because it's like even beyond favorite key stuff, you know what I mean?
What are those 2 or possibly 3 harmonics that you pick up on when you join your left hand up to the bar?
Yeah, I'll show you. It's so embarrassing because it's so easy, really. But all right, so the basic thing is they're just artificial harmonics, and I'm picking them. So for those people who don't play them a lot of times, you've got your harmonics here at the 5th fret on the strings. And you've got your root, your 3rd, your 5th. You get a little minor 7th. You reach the root, and you might get a 9th, depending on the accuracy of your finger or the quality of your strings at that given moment. So those exact harmonics, starting at the 5th fret and heading towards the nut, are happening down here. You're starting about over your neck pickup, and they're heading towards the bridge. So I started thinking about that, like, well, they're all there. I should memorize them as much as I can. So just, if I need a high C for Flying the Blue Dream, I just got to kind of remember that somewhere around here, if I depress the bar with my other hand, I can be more accurate with this hand, and I can get that C. But I don't always get it, but it's worth a try, right? So that's what I'm really doing. I'm just hitting it. So if I don't have the effects on, it's got a nasty attack. So you need that distortion to sort of chop off the transient there and elongate the harmonic and accentuate it, right? Put a little bit of delay on it. But the thing is that I realized I needed to be more accurate here, and this hand wasn't doing anything. So I reached over and I realized, wow, I can prepare going to something by coming up to it, or coming down by coming down to it like that. And then, of course, if I want to just be silly about it, and you can, I mean, I could do this all night. Sometimes I do. The thumb, a little piece of the thumb. Yeah, just a little flesh there, just to grab it. It just seems to be more immediate, and for that moment when this hand isn't doing anything. And that thing with the bar, I mean, that takes a lot of muscle to move the bar in the right place. And this hand's way too busy, and because it's trying to do something that's more precision-oriented, you know. So, yeah, I just kind of did it and didn't think about it. Thank you very much, everybody. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Please put your hands together again for Mr. Joe Satriani.